Good morning, drawing class. Today what we're going to do is we're going to practice some grid drawing. I know if you went to Watertown Middle School, you probably did a grid drawing, which is wonderful. So today we're just going to review that concept and how that works. So we're going to have you use this image. You'll find this in your Google Classroom. And then you need some sketchbook paper. If you have your sketchbook paper, keep in mind that this paper is 9 inches by 12 inches, which works perfectly for this image. If you have printer paper or other paper that's a little bit smaller, you maybe have to do a little bit of math to figure out the dimensions of these boxes. Since this is a 9 by 12, 9 inches wide, 12 inches tall, and we have 3 boxes wide and 4 tall, the math is pretty easy. If this is 9 inches, this way you divide it by 3 boxes, which means that you need to have 3 inches per box. So I will measure this out. I've got 3 and 6. Get a better pencil. 3, 6, and then make sure that you slide it up and do the bottom. 3 and 6. You want to make sure that you slide it. You don't want to turn it and do it this way, because if your paper is crooked at all, that'll create a problem for you. So make sure you just slide it and connect those together. Okay, then we will do the long edge. So this is 12 inches this way. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. So 12 inches divided by 4 gives us 3 again. So our boxes are square. So 3, 6, and 9. Again, slide the paper, don't turn it. 3, 6, and 9. We're gonna add those together like that. And these 2 lines were tick marks. And 1 more. All right, so it'll look something like that. If you don't have a ruler at home, other things that you could do is you could take a paper like this, or if your paper is not the 9 by 12, you could try this too. You want to just kind of look at this and determine where's that third. You know, you're going to put it into thirds. You may have to eyeball it, so it's looking like there and there. And then if you don't have a ruler or a straight edge or something like that that you can use, what you could do is fold it. So I marked where I thought that third would be, somewhere in there. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but it'll be close. It'd be probably close enough to be able to do this practice. Like that. And then what we would do is, because there's 4 boxes, I can fold this in half. Yeah. And then I'll fold it in half again. And just like that, I now have a grid on my paper. Now, would I do this on a project or a drawing that I'm going to keep? No. This is just if you don't have a ruler and you need to get those even boxes on there. That's a way to do that. Okay, back to the grid that we were using here. Okay, so quick refresher on grid drawing is once you have your grids on and they are equivalent or in ratio to each other. So, you know, we have 3 boxes and they are even, 4 boxes, okay, and they're all even with each other. Then we're good to go. If your ratio is off, you're going to struggle a little bit. If we use a grid next week, or if you use a grid next week, this particular grid, I will help you and make sure that those dimensions are correct. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work box by box to try to get things lined up. So this is really about getting your structure accurate. And you'll notice my grid lines here, these are dark. I did those dark because I wanted you to be able to see them. If I drew them really lightly for the video, you might not be able to see them. So when you're doing your grid, don't go dark, because it will be very, very difficult to erase that. All right, so I'm just gonna look at this and try to figure out where I wanna start. I might start right here. You can kind of see there's a little tiny bit of a grape in there. And when I'm looking at this, a lot of times if I'm not sure exactly where to put that, I might need to break this box down a little bit. So I can go here and say, well, here's halfway, and then halfway between here and here would be about there. So I'm gonna come back over here. So here's my halfway on that line, and then halfway again is about there, somewhere in there. And then I can just go ahead and put in that little line somewhere in there. And then it does come through a little bit right there. I gotta look at this a little bit closer so I can see it. Looks like it comes around in there somewhere. Don't be afraid to draw on your printout if you have a printout. All right, so here's my halfway mark again. So I can see that both of these two are before this halfway mark. And this one is about halfway between here. So if this is the halfway and then half of that, and just a little more than halfway there. Somewhere in this area. Again, this is just helping you get the structure correct. And you may need to go back and revisit and revise a little bit. So you can see I'm adding another line in here on this box just because it's has a lot of stuff going on in there. So I'm just gonna add half and half so I can see it a little bit more clearly. So this grape here, I can see part of it is on this side, and it does come all the way down and touches right there. Goes all the way over to about there. Okay, and then we have this part of this grape. Comes over to about right there. All right, then this one comes up top, and it comes down just slightly through there. And then we have this one back here. So something like that for the grapes. Then I can see a little bit of the, I think right through there. Again, I'm gonna break this down a little bit because there's just more elements to this picture in these areas, so I might need a little more help with that. So now I can see this guy is over in here, almost right in the middle. Maybe bring it up just a little bit. Almost doing a gestural basic shapes type of a deal here. And that's okay to use more than one technique. Now this one comes over. See, I already had a box in here. I was practicing this yesterday. So I'm gonna break it down a little more. I can see it almost comes over there. And then we're looking like right about there. Okay, so here, I'm just kind of making these little marks, and basically it becomes like a connect the dot. Okay, this is my halfway, whoops, a little low, somewhere in there, and then halfway again. Okay, that's gonna come right about here. And then we have another grape, which is somewhere in there. You gotta remember with drawing, you're just, you know, you're using this photo as a reference. It doesn't have to be exact, especially when you're doing something like this. Is anybody gonna know that my grape was too far this way or that way? No. And does it really matter? No. If you're doing a portrait, then yeah, you need to make sure things are completely accurate. But doing something like this, you're just using this photo as a reference. There. Something there. This photo's a little blurry, so it's kind of hard to see it. And then I'm going to connect. Might need to bring this guy up. Because look how far low I had that. So he needs to come up in here somewhere. Again, it's just a reference photo, so it doesn't really have to be exact, but I'm gonna move that up and make it a little bit bigger. And then that thing kind of comes up around this way. All right, so we're gonna come over here now. Again, I'm adding these just because it helps me when I'm working inside of a larger area. If I want to get a little more detailed, I add a couple boxes in there. All right, then we've got pear is about there, and just a little more than half. So let's go there. That comes all the way back here. And we're going to bring that up to there. And then it comes down in here. I might have to bring this up. Looks like it's a little low. But that's what the grid is for. It's there to help you get things in the right place and get them to be like the right size. We can even put in a little bit of that shadow so I can see where that is going to go. Okay, and then the back side here. And there, and then we've got another one in here. You'll be able to see it on the video if I'm not paying attention to my grid. You'll be able to see it pretty easily. Oh, that needs to go a lot bigger. And a lot of times when I'm drawing, I will actually use, or I'll take breaks, and then I will use pictures of I'll take pictures of my work, and I will go back and I will compare. And it's amazing what you can see on an image that you can't see when you're just working in person. Okay, so this is where I'm kind of trying to see, well, how wide does that really need to be? Oh, that's pretty good actually, but this needs to come down to about there. Something like that. There, see, that's probably a little bigger space than I need to have right there, but. So basically that is the idea on how you would start a grid drawing, just to help you get things in proportion and laid out. And you'll notice how I broke down my boxes and made them smaller in some places. In some places I didn't need to do that. But that is the idea on doing this particular type of a grid.